And boom. Hey, hey, we are live. We are back. We were missing
Let's
in
go.
action. we were, we were, yeah. So it's not 100% my fault.
It's 100% my fault. I will take the blame on this.
Luke, Luke has not figured out how birth control works yet.
I actually no, I still don't really know. Could you kind of enlighten me on that?
So Luke decided to move out of his house of how many years?
7.
7 years with 3 kids
Yeah.
and one on the way
3 kids
and
and a wife almost at 9 months.
at 9 months. And how many dogs do you have over there?
Just one.
Just one dog. So three
Just one
kids,
dog.
one dog, 9 month pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, like, hey, we're doing Redroom this week, and we're doing Redroom this week. And we just got nowhere all summer long. So
Yeah, that
we,
was
we
my fault.
we actually made a couple attempts, and then it just didn't work out. But we're back. It's fall,
Heck
um,
yeah.
and we thought we would just kind of jump into like a hey, we're back. Tell everybody we're back, and
For
jump into
sure.
a small market update. Now, um, you know, I have the opportunity to have a acquisition guy. His name's Jack Iman, and he
I
works.
know, I know that guy.
Yeah, and he every now and then, about once a week, goes into a small panic about the sky is falling in real estate.
No, Jack does.
Yeah. So I'm like, if I would like to, I should actually rewrite. I should do some social media posts of like me in January and February of last year, just going, hey, next fall around August, it's really going to slow down,
Yep.
and the election isn't really going to help us.
Yep.
So it has been slow. Every conversation I am in the Phoenix market is it's slow. And just a little update on Phoenix inventory. Remember, you hear these if you watch us all the time. January 1st, 15,100. We saw an increase of inventory over a spring market. That doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of settled out in that 17,000 range, and we've tipped over 18,000 just a little bit, and I think it will keep increasing. Now, we have seen, don't know if anybody's paying attention, but we have seen a decrease in interest rates over the last 30 days. And
Yeah.
that's been about 3/4 of a point. So I did this little social media post on like, who's going to win this fall? Is it going to be the slowness of a seasonal fall market with an election period, or is it going to be, interest rates dropping? So
Right.
from the retail side, what are you seeing? Like, we all know that like
Yeah.
Jack has a house on the market, and he has been in a little bit of a panic mode because it's
Oh, I
been
know.
30 days.
I've talked to him a few times. I talked to him a few price drops ago.
It's
um,
been 30 days and he hasn't gotten an offer. Like
yeah.
so
I mean, honestly, first of all, yeah, it's great to be back. Sorry for the absence there for the couple months, guys. It was a very, very hectic few months. I was just telling Chris that it's kind of funny because I have a buddy who works for U-Haul, and he was saying that they talk about like in their team meetings that the two biggest like life altering moments, not I don't want to say on a yearly basis, but that happens regularly to people, are having a baby and moving. And so we did both of those at the exact same time, and also throw in renovating the new house we're moving into, and moving in too early. So between the combination of all those things, it was absolutely just a shit show at my house for 2 months straight. But we're back now. We're a little bit more settled in. Still not fully there, but we're getting a lot closer.
so
Just
how
waiting.
does Sage do on the move in early? Like I had to do a move in into our
Yeah,
Fort Lauderdale house, and Kanar was just like,
it
no,
sucks.
absolutely
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
So
It sucks because there's dust everywhere. The other big thing is you've got people in and out daily, right? Like
yeah,
we had painters, we had trim people, we had appliance guys. We had once you move in, that's when you start figuring out the quirks of the house too, right? So it's like, oh,
yeah,
this isn't working, that's not working, that's not working. Not to mention we did a massive renovation, moving walls and, absolutely everything. So it's like when you're doing all that, you're going to have a lot of things pop up, that you don't know about until you live there. And so
Yeah.
it's been even the last month, since we moved in, it's still even been a lot of that. Our baby's now 6 weeks old. So it's, again, just we're a little bit more settled now. So that's where I was like, all right, I'm back. I think I'm ready to go again. But anyway, that just wanted to hit on that part. But when it comes to like, where the properties are at and kind of how they're moving, what we're seeing right now, in all honesty, it was a good summer for us. We didn't kind of overstretch in our opinion. We probably stuck to having about 10 to 15 projects going at a time. Everything we took down was safe. So I mean, like, so far this year, I would say normally we would say we've probably lost on, by August, by September, we'd probably say normally we've lost on 3 or 4 deals. So far this year, we've only lost on 1 deal, which it's kind of funny to look at things that way, like how many deals have you lost on, but we do. So that what that tells us though is that tells us that we've been very safe on underwriting and everything. So yes, we've been making sure they're good deals. And in all honesty, I mean, we've still been moving our properties pretty well. And again, the reason being though is that when we've been underwriting, in our opinion, there's been a lot less people flipping this summer because again, inventory has been high and it's been slower in general. So because inventory has been higher, because it's been slower in the flipping world, we have been really able to kind of stick to our numbers more so as flippers. And what we've been doing is we've been basically underwriting our properties to undercut the market to be the nicest home and to be the best priced, right? So for example, if we see a house that is, let's say it's a nice renovation, it's nothing crazy, let's say it's just a nice builder grade reno. What we're doing is we're taking it a step past that builder grade reno, making it a little bit nicer than that. Let's say they're listed at 450. If they're listed at 450 and it's active on the market, then and if we think that's truly like the best comp, we're going to list ours at 440. So now we're nicer and we're undercutting it. So I think what happens by doing that is, you're seeing as a buyer, you're saying, oh, this is a nice house. Like we're interested in this one. And then you see ours and you're like, oh, this one's cheaper and we like it more. So it makes it a lot easier to obviously pull the trigger on it for a buyer. And so that's been able to kind of to help us out quite a bit.
What do you think your average days on market in this like last 90 days have been? How many actives, how many listings have you put up in the last 90 days?
Probably 15.
Okay. And of those 15, how many have gone under contract and how many are still available?
Yeah, what we tend to try to do, and I think I've mentioned this on here before, but we tend to have, if we're going to have 15 projects going at a time, we want to have 33, 33, 33 as our ratio. Yeah. 33 in escrow to close on, 33%. So 5, if we're doing 15, 5 in escrow to close on, 5, being worked on that, that are in the renovation process, and then 5 that are, either about to go on the market or that are on the market.
Right.
So that's kind of what we tend to go for, because the thing that's nice about when you do that way is that it's more predictable to kind of know where you're at and where you stand with like taking on new projects and stuff like that. But right now we have 1 active. So we've got 1 active, and here I could actually give me 1 sec. I'll pull it up really quick. I want to say, all right, getting real estate. All right. Okay. So yeah, so as of right now, we have 1, 2. Yeah, we have 1 active. So 1 active right now. It's in Prescott. It's been active for exactly a month today, and that's our longest one. So up to this point, it's been going under contract probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, so the formula you just talked about is you want to undercut the best, or you want to undercut a good price. Yep. For a decent house. So we're not comparing it to like a piece of junk, but a decent house. Maybe it's 8 years old since remodel, maybe 10 years old since remodel, something like that. You're going to undercut that 2 to 3% and have a way better product,
Yep.
and you're still able to move it under 30 days.
Yep, exactly. So I mean, again, that's when we look at it in that format, like, it makes sense. Like, why would you not be able to make money on those, right? And so that's what we've been going for. And again, the flippers, as in my opinion, right now, everything is kind of between wholesalers and flippers. And I'm sorry, Chris, because I know you guys mainly wholesale, but you guys also wholesale 30 deals a month. So, but as flippers right now, in my opinion, I believe that the flippers have the upper hand over the wholesalers in kind of determining price point and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that, as a wholesaler, like, I just talked to my team is like, hey, it's slow. Jack, like I said, Jack's driving down the highway every day going like, it's slow. He's calling me like, it's slow. But then he'll have a good day where he cranks off like 3 or 4 deals. But you have to have a good deal. For it to wholesale right now, it's got to be a deal. It can't be like it's got to be,
Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you, but you're gone. But that's fine.
No.
You got to have a deal because, like you said, the flippers have their choice of what wholesalers are putting out there. And so for them to take that leap of faith, be able to take it back, be able to sell it back of what their current competition on MLS is, still be able to rehab it and then make a profit, that's got to be a pretty good deal. All right, you're clicking in and you're clicking in and out of mute, but I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure what happened to my.
Just your camera's gone.
My camera, that just happened out of nowhere. All right, let me flip this over. Let me switch back to my other camera. I don't know why that just happened. Give me 1 sec, guys. All right, it could have been a user error. It's been a little while. All right, different. It's a different camera. We're back though.
So any change in your acquisition strategy, or I mean, obviously we just talked about your numbers. Any change in your marketing strategy or anything that's like helping you acquire those deals, at that cheaper price?
One thing that I will say right now is that if you are a wholesaler or a flipper out there and you have a direct to seller operation going on, do not be scared or worried if your leads are not the same right now, because I can promise you right now, I've talked to so many people in our industry that are feeling the same thing, and us included. So, I mean, our PPC and our PPL, the leads that were coming in, beginning of the year were on fire, right? Like, we were booking appointments left and right. We were snatching up direct to seller deals left and right. It has been extremely slow. And the reason being, I'm sure everyone else is getting the same thing. Everyone right now wants retail. I mean, it's crazy. It's been retail or higher. It's been either, for us, if a property is worth, say the estimate is 600 grand, everyone that we've been speaking with has been like, I want 700 and I don't want anything less. And that wasn't the norm for the first 6 months of the year. So, when that shifted, it made it a lot more difficult for sure. But again, when you wholesale and flip, when you kind of have multiple exits, as we've talked about before, it makes it easier for you to be able to kind of offset that with other deals.
Yeah, and I think there's just fear in the market. There's a lot of unknowns we got till 11/4, so we got, I don't know, 70 days until we really know what's going to go on, and so that just creates fear. And so when there's fear, there's just not a lot of people participating in what's happening. Now, the 10-year bond, like everybody talks about, and I keep talking about it, we keep talking about it on this show all the time. The 10-year bond, we talk about, hey, like, what's the Fed going to do with rates? But the 10-year bond doesn't move with the Fed. Like, the 10-year bond's sitting at 3.8. That's a pretty good number. That's actually, I think, the lowest. Like, that 3.8 mark is about the lowest number we've seen since February. It's kind of, so you have pretty good interest rates for right now.
What are you seeing in interest rates? Are you seeing around 6.5?
Yeah, that's what they should be, probably around 6.5, 6.25. So I'm just pulling it up, but we had a dip in February. But if you look at the year to date, Yeah, I mean the year. So we had that dip in February that was 3.86, and we're sitting at 3.82. We're sitting at like the lowest spot in interest rates year to date.
Yeah, for
So
sure. No,
so there's
exactly.
so there could be some pent up energy. I just think that there's fear in the market and
Mhm.
people aren't moving. But when it comes to post election, whatever happens, like typically after the election is over, people start settling back down and go, "Oh, it's time to get back to business." And
Yeah.
and
No, and I think that, because obviously that's happened in the past, as well. I mean, what would you say typically you see? Would you say in general maybe 2 to 3 months leading up to the election, and then usually 2 months to 2 to 3 months following the election? It's kind of like a 6 month period of just slower. Would you say 4 months or 2 months
I
total?
so typically what we always see here in Phoenix is like around August, kids go back to school. So we got the seasonality slow down of the market anyway. Then you have the fear of the election, and it just typically makes these falls slower than normal. Like I
Yeah.
said, we're sitting at the lowest interest rate of year to date. So I made a little post on my social media, like which one's going to win? Is it going to
Right.
be the low interest rate? It's a little pent up energy for the buyers, or is it going to be, the slow time of the year? And since that post, we've gone up 500 units in inventory. So
Okay.
if you would say that the slowness of the year is, but for the last 2 years, and we've been on this show for 2 years, we've
Yeah.
seen busy Decembers
Yeah.
last year and in 2022. I think this is going to be the same. The next jobs report comes out, I think it's September 6th. And if we have another slow jobs report, that tenure is coming down some more. I think it's going from
Yeah.
3.8 to maybe into 3.6 or 3.5. If we see it down in the 3.5 or 3.6 range, you are going to see upper fives in the interest rates.
Right. Right.
And then, I mean, that
Yeah.
we're
You
not,
start getting back to that number, you're gonna have a lot of people getting off the fence again.
yeah, you're going to have a lot of people getting off the fence. You're going to have people like, oh, it was 7.5 and now it's 5.75. I mean, that's
Well,
almost 2 points. That's real money.
and I think another big thing too is that I think that there's been a lot of people that when the interest rates are where they're at, they're not willing to buy rental properties, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you said, they get back into that 5.5, the mid fives, high fives. You're going to start seeing people, willing to buy those rental properties again. Which I will say, we were actually, I believe that we took advantage of the higher interest rates in the rental market because I don't think there was a whole lot of competition when it came to rental properties over the past 9 months in general.
So you offered them 10 cents on the dollar?
Exactly. But so because there wasn't a ton of, of interest, because there wasn't a ton of people that were, willing to go buy rental properties, I personally believe that we got some of the best deals that we've ever gotten before on rental properties. And yes, our interest rates are not pretty. They're not the most beautiful interest rates that you want. I've put in a lot of long-term loans in the last 9 months, between 7 and 8.5%. And I know that sounds absolutely insane. People are like, why would you do that? But I was also able to walk into probably a couple $100,000 in equity over, probably, I mean, if you're being honest, between like 4 to 5 properties, probably 600-700 grand of equity.
Yeah.
That's equity that I would not have been able to get into that. And I would not have been able to get those deals if there was a lot more competition and if there's a lot more buyers that were interested in buying these rental properties. So, again, how I view things is like, okay, is it still going to cash flow? Great. But like, can I get out of this? Can I refinance in a couple of years? Great. If it drops back down to 5.5, maybe I'll even take the penalty and just, drop back down into that. So.
And what you're talking about penalties, you probably signed a 2-year deal on your DSCR loans that like, hey, if this pays off in 2 years or 3 years, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium.
Yeah, exactly. It might be 1 point or 2 points or whatever that might be. So.
Yeah. So anyway, just a heads up, but just a little bit for you guys that, haven't been through these little cycles and these little dips or been paying attention to them is where do you make the most money, Luke?
On the buy.
Well, on the buy, but you make
in the dip.
In the dip, like in these
dip, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you meant on the deal, but yeah. Oh yeah. year wise, or cycle wise of where the market's at, no question about it in the dip.
Yeah.
In
So
the dip, you don't make the most money when it's hot.
So just a little piece of info, like right now when it's slow, when it's a buyer's market, like Luke said at the beginning, it's not the best opportunity for the wholesalers. It's kind of the best opportunity for the fix and flippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you buy in the dips and you can get a really discounted property and you provide a good product coming into December, January,
Yep.
generally is when you
Get those properties that hit the market in January.
Yeah. That's
And
when you make your
like you said, December too, though. Well, December as well, because if people, if it's going to take 30 days to close, people will be like, okay, I'll put something under contract in December, knowing that I'll be closing, middle of January or end of January. So,
or even buying right now in September, October. Like, let's say you buy something late September, you're not even going to close till the end of October. It's going to take you 30 to 40 days, on a fast remodel, right?
Right, exactly.
On a longer remodel, it may take you 60. So if you close the end of October and it takes you 60 days to remodel, you're walking into January where, I mean, if we have 5.5% market, 5.5% rates, because if rates tick down and you're going into a spring market with good rates, you should have plenty of buyers to buy your product.
Absolutely. I think there's no question about that.
So anyway, that is our little market update. Basically a recap, if you're a wholesaler, it's slow. It's difficult. Even to Luke's point, the leads aren't even that good.
The difference, I'm telling you again, like I know this sounds crazy to say this, but the difference of the leads from January through, let's say, April, then versus May up to, a couple months ago, and then where they're at right now, it's been night and day. It's been absolutely night and day. So again, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged if you're like, man, I don't know if I should keep doing this. It's the cycle. It's the cycle we go through. Just keep honing your craft, keep working on your skill set, keep getting better at, whether it's talking to the sellers or whatever your systems are. If it's, getting those leads directly from agents, or if it is, cold calling, or if it is, PPC and stuff like that. Keep working on it, keep pounding it, and they'll come. It'll get better.
And I would venture to say, with interest rates on their way down, I think they're going to keep going down. I think you're going to enter a December market and a January market with lower interest rates, just because they can't raise them. I think typically when the Fed actually says I'm cutting rates, that's a trigger, just an FYI, for generally stock guys to go like, okay, they're cutting rates. We've actually hit the recession. Let me sell some of my stocks and go into bonds for some safe haven. They're not selling all their stocks. They're just selling a portion of their stocks. They take that money, they put it into the bonds. Bond market goes down. Interest rates on housing goes down, and our market gets a little uptick with buyers. And that's just kind of how the cycle goes. And if you have some decent product, you did a decent job remodeling it going into this next spring, I think you'll do better than you've done in the past.
Chris, do you think in general, that some of your friends that may have some good money in the stock market, do you think that when the market, takes a turn and drops pretty heavily, do you see many of them pull out and put that towards real estate or no?
I think there's obviously people move, like we're talking, I have friends that moves money out of stocks into real estate and vice versa, but that's not really what moves the market, right?
Yeah.
It's the fund managers that really move the market, right? And typically what they do is everybody's had a great stock run. Like the stock run has been amazing. And then, but when the Fed starts actually lowering rates, that's typically a trigger to, stock guys saying, hey, they're official. Okay, they're lowering rates. There's a recession starting or started. So let me move a little bit of this stock money into bonds, which are safer and more predictable. And and then when that happens, when people start buying bonds, the bond prices come down and interest rates come down, and we can we get cheaper mortgages. So,
Yep.
which generally sparks us, the rehabbers coming back in. They buy
Yeah.
houses, the rehab houses. They spend money on at Floor and Decor and Home Depot. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that. Would you say in general that the majority of your buyers, because again, you have a huge wholesaling company. That's literally, you're one of the two biggest wholesalers, probably in all of Arizona, and when it comes to sheer volume. What were you guys moving January through, that first quarter versus the second quarter, now into, I guess we're almost at the end of this third quarter. No, we're not. We got a full month of the third quarter.
Our volume really hasn't changed because
Wow.
we just know it's not really, we just buy deeper. Like,
Right, exactly.
we're just a wholesaler, right? We just go like, hey, we can give you on a spring market, we can give you 72, 73 cents on the dollar, right? You go into a fall market, we have to discount to make that uneasy flipper buy, right?
Yep.
We got to give them a decent product. So we just say, hey, we got to be at 67%. Otherwise we can't buy it, because we know that, like you're saying, the fix and flipper wants a deal, right?
Yep.
To buy in this kind of market, they want a deal. So we have to be.
Yeah. Where maybe that first quarter you were able to buy at 75%.
Yeah. It's just, and then when COVID was happening, I mean, how many deals did you pay 80 cents on the dollar for? Because you were getting, 10% over retail, right?
Yeah,
so it's all just part of the system. So, we still wholesale. Our volumes pretty much stayed the same. It just, we have to buy deeper.
For sure.
And we tell our acquisition guys that. We tell, our strategic partners that, like, hey, we need a better deal if you want to move it.
Yeah, exactly. That makes total sense.
But we are back, guys. We'll be here all this fall. We'll have more guests. If you have any guests that you'd like to talk with, or anybody in the real estate market, or any ideas that you think you want to hear us, but we'll definitely be watching the market updates. Stan, we'll probably have this subject as part of the topics throughout this election period and this fall period, because we want you to stay on top of this, and we'll be watching the inventory, because when it turns from going from a down market to like I'm talking about, interest rates come down, that's when you buy in a good spot and you sell into a spring market. That's generally where you make your biggest hits.
Absolutely. There's no question about it.
Because if you're buying in the spring and you're selling in the spring, you're paying top dollar, you're paying that 75 cents on the dollar, and you're just not making as much money. So, but we're back. Luke's gonna probably he'll probably be around for another 9 months. Is when the next baby?
No. It's been scheduled. It's been wifey scheduled it. So
he's got the ice pack coming.
The ice pack will be here. So I'll try to line it up for a nice Tuesday. So I'll just be just out of it during that one.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for listening, guys. If you are on YouTube, click the follow button, the like button, all that fun stuff. And if you're just watching on Facebook, if you have any comments, we watch the comments. You can throw some on below, and we'll reply to them.
Heck yeah.
See you guys.
We'll see ya.